Hi, welcome to this PowerPoint and fitness testing. I was the tester and my client was Chloe Evans. Before I did any tests, I first completed a questionnaire and came up with 6 tests based on her weaknesses, and also made sure these tests were specific to her sport and her position, which I found out from the questionnaire was she was a footballer and a striker. From this questionnaire, I found out that she played college games once a week and trained once a week for college. She also admitted her main weakness was her aerobic endurance. So the first test I did was the Cooper run test. This was testing their aerobic endurance, which she said was a weakness. I chose this test because aerobic endurance was something they said they needed to work on, and it's something all footballers need, especially as a base level. The higher level you play at, generally the greater it needs to be, and as Chloe plays at quite a high level, I would suggest a high level of fitness. Once we completed the test, I found her score was 1,750 metres, which you can see from the normative data here, that is below average for her age, which was 17 to 20, because she is 18, which I found out also from the questionnaire. The strength of this test, when completing this test, were that that Chloe kept going for the whole 12 minutes and didn't stop running, which is a bonus, but however her score was still quite low. She did have a day of rest the day before, so it made her results more accurate rather than having a full day's exercise the day before. However, there were some things that made this test unreliable when I was conducting it. For example, we had no pacer, so it's hard, and also she had no practice, which makes it harder for her and may make her score lower. Additionally, motivation is key, so if her motivation was low, which I found it was, then this may affect results as well. Also, she was wearing inappropriate footwear as she was wearing trainers, and we completed it outside on the grass, which also could have made her score lower. For Chloe to improve her score, she must improve her aerobic endurance by undergoing a fitness program. This program will consist mainly of aerobic activities. According to a website called ShareCare, that you can perform cardio activities 5 or 6 times a week. However, due to Chloe's college games and training, I would recommend 4 sessions a week. So they are more likely to stick to it, and so fatigue doesn't stop Chloe from completing it. The cardio program is slightly less intense, but goes on for a longer period. I would suggest doing more of this rather than the other activities, as it is one of their main weaknesses. Maximum heart rate is calculated by 220 minus your age, therefore Chloe's maximum heart rate is 202. During aerobic fitness, you should be working in the target zone of 60 to 80% of your maximum heart rate. I would suggest a program that looks a bit like this, with the sets and reps demonstrated here. So you have a high tempo session with a lower tempo longer session. For the high tempo session, you're more likely to be working more towards the 80% of your maximum heart rate, whereas the lower intensity session is more likely to be more towards 60% of your maximum heart rate. So here's the sets, the reps, the work time, the recovery time, and the rest between sets. It also has the perceived effort level and the session duration. And finally, there's an overall 4-week plan for all of these sessions, completed on changing every 2 weeks. You can partially self-monitor your changing fitness as your recovery rate will hopefully increase, so you have less time needed for recovery. Also, physiologically, working on this test will result in cardiac hypertrophy as the heart will increase in strength, and additionally capillarization as it will result in capillarization of the working muscles as a result of running regularly. I would like to retest Chloe after the 4-week program, and I should see a major difference in her aerobic endurance. Next is the Illinois test, and this tested Chloe's agility. The reason I chose this test is that it tests your agility, speed, and your ability to turn quickly, which is essential for football, especially as a striker, as you have to move quickly and change direction to beat the defender. Chloe's result was 17.85, which is above average for 16 to 19-year-olds, as you can see in the normative data. However, she can improve and reach the excellent category, which would be the athlete data. The strengths of how I conducted this test included the fact that the test was very relevant, and also that it had many strengths to make it reliable, such as easy to set up and conduct and can be administered anywhere. However, there were several weaknesses in this test, as I didn't choose an appropriate surface as it's not realistic to her game, as I completed it inside, whereas Chloe would normally play outside on the grass. Also, I couldn't distinguish between left and right turning ability, so it's hard to know what to concentrate on and which areas to improve. There are several exercises Chloe can do to improve her agility. Firstly, you can use plyometric agility hurdles. These are often used to build power, speed, and agility. These can be used by setting up several small agility hurdles at 2 feet increments, starting with legs shoulder width apart, jump and land on the balls of your feet. Immediately upon landing, jump again, driving forward with the arms. I would suggest repeating this 10 times for each foot for 3 sets. This will improve agility but also prevent fatigue and overworking muscles if you were to do more than the suggested amount. As you improve, over the weeks you can move the hurdles further apart, which should increase your score even more. Other exercises include tuck jumps, which involve standing with feet shoulder width apart, bent and bending knees slightly. Next, powerfully drive the knees towards your chest while in midair. Grasp knees quickly, then let go. As soon as you've landed, you have to jump again. I would suggest doing 10 of these for 3 sets, again to prevent fatigue and overworking the muscles. It also may cause you to reduce your technique, which would not be beneficial in improving your agility. Other exercises include stair running, box jumps, and speed ladder drills. There's many variations in this, so it shouldn't get boring. There are many variations to do within the speed ladder drills. Overall, this should only take half an hour to 45 minutes, so it's not too long, and I would do this twice a week in order to see your scores improve and to make sure that you're not overworking the muscles again. I would like to review progress in about 6 weeks, as this is enough time to see the progress. However, it's enough time in order to make changes if necessary and see if the program isn't working. Next, I completed the vertical jump test. This is a measure of explosive leg power and strength of leg muscles. I chose this test as you need explosive leg power for football, especially as a striker, as it involves sprints to get away from the defender, as well as power in a shot and when heading the ball from a standing jump. Chloe's score was 35 centimetres, which compared to normative data for females, as you can see, is an average score. Again, the test I conducted had strengths and weaknesses. During the test, human error affected my results, as I had to look to see where Chloe jumped and had to mark it. This could have had errors in it, so I would have to find a more accurate way of measuring that. However, it did just provide a direct measurement of vertical power. The weaknesses were that technique of Chloe's jump and how far she bended her knees may have affected her results and may deflect from the sole leg power. I also didn't make sure she completed the protocol 10-minute warm-up, and this may have greatly affected results. And finally, I didn't allow specific rest times, as this would improve consistency and accuracy and allow legs to recover so fatigue didn't kick in. When it comes to vertical jump, plyometrics are key. The exercises I will describe will help improve lower body explosiveness, power and strength. Exercise you can use include jump rope, which ideally you should use for 30 minutes, but realistically with your schedule and other exercises, fatigue may kick in, so I'd recommend 10 minutes for maybe 3 days a week. After this, I do calf raises, which would be 10 to 20 reps for 3 sets, as this should see a difference. Lightweight. I'd also do squats with high weight but low amount of reps, as this will see your explosiveness and power increase rather than your endurance. I'd also recommend hurdles. I'd use these by placing 8 hurdles 2 feet apart from each other and jump over each as high as you can. I'd have 10 repetitions of this, with 1 repetition being all 8 hurdles, and I'd complete this twice a week as well. Finally, simply just practicing the vertical jump against a wall, leaping say 10 times once a week, can greatly improve your technique and your vertical jump and will improve your score. With this program, you should start to see or feel results within 1 to 2 weeks. However, I will retest you in 6 weeks to see a major difference and see if the program is working. If it's not, then we'll have to look at making some changes. Due to the explosive nature and the anaerobic nature of this activity, I would look at your target zone being 80 to 100% of your maximum heart rate. If you're looking to stop this being boring and repetitive, then just change the order or the location of your activities, or alternatively split the sessions into 2 different sessions and do 4 shorter sessions rather than the other 2. Next is the 35-meter sprint. This was just testing their overall speed and reaction times. It is important to be quick over a short distance of football, especially as a striker, to beat the defender, and generally only wingers would run long distances in football. All other positions involve short sprints, generally less than 10 metres or less. Chloe scores 5.5 seconds, which, as you can see, compared to normative data, was a good score. There were strengths in that I was consistent of the test, as I was consistent with saying 3, 2, 1, go, rather than just changing it. However, there are many weaknesses. For example, the surface I used was a hard concrete surface, whereas this would not be relevant in football as it's generally played on grass. Also, this test